Hey guys, it's me. So obviously I'm not there today if you're watching this in class on Tuesday, but you've got a quiz coming up in just a few minutes, so I wanted to take just a couple minutes and go over the bank account class with you really quick that you're seeing on the screen. I'm going to open it up, talk about a couple of the little things in there, just making sure that you're okay with it all. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to answer any of your questions, which is why when you take your quiz today, you're going to be able to take it as many times as you need between now and basically Wednesday, so through class Wednesday. I'll take the average of all the scores you compile. So if you do poorly on it, rack up a couple high scores on it, obviously your score will be better and better and better every time. And I'll round it up so it's not like this nasty decimal. So like if you end up with like a 24.5 or whatever, I'll round it up. Even if it's like a 24.2, I'll round it up. So let's go through it real quick. We'll talk about the little nuances of the bank account class, and hopefully you kind of get the picture of what everything's supposed to be before you jump in and take this quiz. And you can always kind of recap everything in the quiz with the what is it, the class anatomy worksheet that you did yesterday and the test review. So that'll kind of help out, and that'll push the test back, the actual test back, till next week. So we'll go through this. You're going to take this little quiz today. We'll recap everything, and we should be able to make up some next good time here. So either way, you had to create everything from scratch, which means you had to create class bank account based on object. Here's your quick doc strings. Creates a bank account object. You had two static attributes. Okay, static attributes never start with the word self, so you know that they're static. You're going to hard code them into whatever values you want. I wanted an interest rate equal to a 0.125 and a next account number equal to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever it may have been. It really doesn't make a difference what it was. Okay, but those are like the first two pieces you needed, those static attributes. They kind of help you in the constructor and with some of the other functions that you're going to write down below. So just recap. The static attributes that you see, they never start with the word self. They're going to be declared outside of any methods so that you can kind of get your way through. All right. First thing you need to do that was listed out on the sheet was to build the constructor. Your constructor is always this init function. Okay, so here's the constructor heading, and here's the constructor heading along with its body. Even the static attribute incrementation here, that's all part of the body that you can kind of see here. Our bank account needed you to pass in a name and a balance. So you see here I've got name and bal. You could have called these things anything you want. If you want to say first name, last name, and balance, that's fine, just as long as we have some sort of name coming in and balance. Now I have my attributes right here. They all start with the word self. So self.name, self.balance, self.account number. You're going to notice that mine are private. Yours, I don't think I saw anybody make them private in their lab that you guys are doing in class, but that's not the point. I never asked for them to be private. I just like to show it off here just so that you remember what it looks like to make something private. So 2 underscores in front makes it private. No underscores makes it public. You just got to make sure you use it appropriately. So either way, I've got an attribute here, self.name, comes in as name. Self.balance comes in as balance. Self.account number, this was the tricky one, is equal to the next account number from the bank account itself. You don't get to pick your account number. The bank does it for you, so you have to go into the bank account, the name of the class, and access the static member there. So that's the next account number. And then once you are done with that, kind of one of the first things I listed off in the method section was to increment the next account number. So that's this line of code right here. Take the bank account next account number, change it by something. You could change it by 1, you can change it by 10, you can change it randomly. I don't care, just as long as it changes so that the next account you make gets a new account number. So there's the constructor. Comes together pretty quickly. Attributes always start with self dot. Private always start with 2 underscores. Anytime you're manipulating or using a static member, like next account number, you got to do it from the bank account prefix. So you got to go bank account dot next account number, or in our case, a lot of times bank account dot interest rate to use it appropriately. So that's the constructor. Hopefully the second thing you made, some of you waited to the last minute for this one, but hopefully you started to figure out how you're going to print it. So here you've got your toString method. This will allow you to print whatever you want to do. So here I had a variable called output. I just made it equal to name, and then I took the string version of self.name plus this. Some of you guys might have gone through like a format method. Again, doesn't matter, just as long as it puts it all together. So I've got my output getting built with the name, the account number, and the balance, and I just returned it. And so that allowed me to come down here in my test file and actually build an account number. So this kind of comes down to a little bit where you should start testing it incrementally as you're going through. So I might come through and make an account. I'll call it like account 1. I'll say bank account, not Brandon. What am I doing? Bank account. And I can give it a name like Brandon. And a balance. Let's say I did like $1,250. Okay, 0.00 or whatever. And this will allow me to print it, okay? So if I print account 1 and I run, now it's going to come through and it's actually going to print out all the good stuff that I wanted to print out, which is really nice. Okay, so everything's working exactly the way that I hoped it would. Okay, so that's that. At least I got now my one account. My deposit method, that was pretty easy to come together. Deposit's just one line of code, really. You got to pass in an amount like you were asked for, and then just take your balance and increase it by whatever the amount is. So self.balance plus equals the amount. And so that way I can come down here and I can test it. I can say account 1 dot deposit, okay, and I can say I want to deposit like $250, okay. Then the only thing I need to do is maybe then print it. So I'll do something like print. I'm going to put a blank line in there and print my account 1 again. Okay, and so, well, maybe I'll put a message in here. I'll say after deposit. And then we'll do that. Run. And I should see, okay, here's my balance, $1,250. After deposit, my balance is now $1,500. So it went up $250. I think it's working just fine. Okay, so that's perfect. Okay, your withdrawal method, pretty simple. You do want to deduct the amount from your balance, but only if your balance has sufficient funds. So if your balance is greater than or equal to the amount passed in, deduct it. Otherwise, you might print out something. I don't care what you printed, as long as you print something that says it had insufficient funds or not enough money to withdraw. So in your test file, you're not going to do what I'm about to do, but I'm trying to keep things short. You would just keep a running total of everything. But I'm going to do a quick withdraw here. And I might say that I'm going to withdraw $100 from this, and I'll just change this to after withdraw. Okay, we'll print just to make sure it's working. And I withdrew $100, so now I'm down to $1,150. Let's test it one more time, but with something that's too much. So we'll do something like not 1,000, but maybe like 10,000. You know, and that's way too much because I only have $1,250 in my account. But now it says I don't have enough to withdraw $10,000, so my balance is still exactly where it's supposed to be. So there's the withdrawal method. Goes together pretty quickly. Big thing is checking to make sure that you have enough money before you withdraw. Otherwise, print out that you can't do it. Okay. Now the transfer funds, I think, cause the most issue, that and the deposit interest amongst everybody. The transfer funds, a lot of people, they just didn't ever put that other account in there. I don't know why. I put it right in the document for you, but you got to make sure you have it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to take funds from your account itself to the other account's balance. So here we go. You're going to pass in two things. The order in which you pass them, I could care less, just as long as you pass two things. Other account and the amount. Okay? So open. And basically, we're going through the same logic as like the withdraw method, because we need to make sure that our current balance has enough money to make the transfer. So as long as my balance is greater than or equal to the amount, I can deduct the amount from my balance and increase the other account's balance by the amount. So other account.balance plus equals the amount. Otherwise, I go through and I do that same old print statement where it's just you don't have enough funds. So let's go through and try testing this, but in order to test it, I need a second account. So I'm going to make another account. We'll call it account 2 equals a bank account. And we'll call this Amanda. And we'll give Amanda, $2,000. Okay. So here I'm going to delete some of this stuff. So we'll print account 1 and we'll print account 2 just so we can see everything. And then I'm going to do a quick print statement and we'll say after transfer. Alright, so now we'll do the transfer. So basically self is the account that precedes the dot and the other account is the parameter. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to try to transfer maybe $100 from Brandon to Amanda. So I'm going to go account 1 dot transfer funds, and I need to type in the other account first, which is account 2, and I want to transfer $100. And so now if I print account 1 and print account 2, I should see that account 1's $100 less and account 2 is $100 greater than what it was before. So let's go through, whoops, we'll run it, and it looks like it. So we've got $1,250 and $2,000. After the transfer, we're at $1,150, which is $100 less, and $2,100, which is $100 more. So it looks like the transfer went through just fine. Let's try and make a transfer that doesn't work. That would have been something else you should have done. So let's just put in some bogus amount there, like $10,000. And obviously there's not a $10,000 in that first account. So you're going to see that there does not have enough money to transfer what we want to do. So you're going to see that nothing's changed in my account, and nothing has changed in the other account as well. So that's kind of a nice way of going about it. So there's your transfer funds, very similar to the withdrawal with a little deposit mixed in, but really comes down to that condition statement. Okay. All right, last one was the deposit interest. I saw a lot of people have trouble with this just simply because they didn't know what interest was. And it's a pretty easy factor to come up with. It's described right there in the problem description. Take the balance that you currently have and multiply it by the interest rate. So it's just a matter of calculating it. Now, I did this in one line of code. I think most of you who completed it did it in 2. So really, it's just the balance, self.balance, times, okay, the bank account dot interest rate. And once you have that number, okay, to get full credit for the method, you had to deposit it. So a self.deposit that amount. You could have done this in 2 lines of code. You could have said something like amount equals self.balance times bank account dot interest rate, okay? And then you could have easily just stuffed amount in here, and it's the same thing, okay? But either way, you got to make sure you make the deposit. If you just did a self.balance plus equals amount in this case, you'll get some credit, but you're not going to get credit for making the actual deposit. So using the methods to manipulate everything that you want to manipulate. So in this case, I don't really need the account 2 anymore. Okay, I just need to do a transfer. So again, in your test file, you're going to have everything, but in mine, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. So print account 1. And then I'm going to do account 1 dot deposit interest. No parameters, no arguments going to this one because it's just going to calculate and do. And then I'm going to print account 1 again. And we should see that it has increased in value. So there we go. And yeah, you're going to get some nasty decimal sometimes depending on what kind of math you've already done in it and what your balance is at that point in time. So if you've got some big old nasty decimal here, I'm not worried about you formatting it. I'm not worried about you rounding it to the nearest penny or anything like that. Just make sure it gets the right value. So all in all, I think you guys did pretty well with this project. It took some time for some, it was really quick for others, but either way, you more or less got it done. I'm happy with that. And now it just comes down to how well you understand it. So you're going to take a quiz here in a second. Jump over to that quiz as soon as you're done watching this video. And the quiz has 25 questions on it. A lot of them are going to be about the bank account. You're going to be doing a lot of that multi-select again. Select the things that we just talked about, the static fields, okay, find those. Attributes, okay, private versus public, incrementation, different methods that do different things. And then you'll have to write some code as to how you actually build some of these things. So like making a bank account, printing a bank account, making a deposit or a withdraw or a regular old deposit of interest or anything like that. So feel free to go back and reference this video maybe one more time after you take the quiz so you can see everything that you kind of missed, and then take it again. Keep taking it until you get that 25 out of 25, and if you got a really bad score the first time, take it 2 or 3 times to get a 25 out of 25 to build it back up, because it's only going to increase your average as you go on and on and on. So take some time, do that, do it as many times as necessary, get yourself ready for the test. Okay, the test is coming up very, very shortly. I'd like to take care of that maybe Thursday. So we'll see where we're at when I get back to class on Wednesday and how much effort you put in everything. If you're putting in good effort and still not working through this very well, we can push it back. If you're putting in no effort, I see no reason to push it back. Let's just move on because I'm getting kind of tired of doing this, let's be honest. I'm sure some of you are too. So either way, jump over, take that quiz. If there's any issues with it, message me on Discord. I'll be sitting at a computer all day. All right? So if you have any questions, again, hit me up on Discord. If not, I will see you later.